Hey there, Spiral Warriors, Drill Soul here. I'm coming at you today with a special video recording of my CosFit, Cosplay as Motivation for Fitness and Better Living panel presented at Cosplay America 2016. Captain Cosplay, Klaus Edwards Cosplay, and Quiz Dragon Cosplay sat with me on the panel and shared their inspiring experiences with cosplay and fitness. I apologize in advance for the video quality issues. As you can see, this was recorded on a cell phone. It was a totally spur of the moment decision, but I'm really happy we finally got a recording. I suggest listening to the audio recording, which will be linked to in the video description, but hey, some people just prefer a video. And you can see my new Superman cosplay. And if you have any questions for me or the other panelists, you can contact me on www.drillsoul.com's contact page or the panelists' personal Facebook pages, which will be provided in the video description. And as always, keep advancing and evolving and enjoy the panel.
Different slide stories than a lot of people. I'm a horseback rider and dancer, which means growing up in the Hunter Association. You want to be slim and tiny. The judges will take points off if you're not. So a lot of us end up anorexic, which I did. When I started cosplaying, a lot of the characters I do are guys, so I had to be a lot more bulky. So I got more healthy and I'm eating properly now. So I look like this instead of an anorexic would.
Pass on, Nick.
For me, I've always kind of been a random different types of shapes and sizes. I've been down to really skinny and up to a little bit more large in size. Before cosplay, I really just would go to the gym and try and stay in decent shape, but I never really tried to push myself or push for anything specifically, other than at one point I was running quite a bit for a lifeguard competition because I worked as a beach lifeguard for a little while. But other than that, I never really had too much heavy motivation to really stay in shape or get in shape, over a long period of time.
Cosplay wasn't really the motivation for me to get into shape, but when I've been lifting for about 15 years now. When I was 14, you ever see the movie Full Metal Jacket? I pretty much looked like the guy that played Gomer Pyle. Yeah, and then just getting in shape was a personal decision that I made because I felt like it needed to be done. I needed to start living a healthier life.
And I've been into fitness since I was 16, but I really didn't start getting serious until I moved to North Carolina in 2014, and I went to my first few conventions, and I decided I wanted to go for my dream cosplay, which is Kamina from Gurren Lagann. Still haven't done it, and I've been doing incremental cosplay goals along the way, like Spider-Man and Superman. So cosplay has really pushed me for upping the difficulty on my workouts, finally getting around to incorporating the dieting part, because when you're trying to go for your ideal body type, fitness will only get you so far. It is a group effort, for lack of a better word. So, Rusty, I'm going to have you start with this one. What was the first costume that you recall challenging your body image or inspiring fitness?
Well, I could actually answer both of those. Inspiring fitness, I grew up reading comic books, Superman and all them, and I just wanted to look like them. But the body image part, that's actually coming up because I'm going to be doing Kratos from God of War. That's pretty much shirtless. And
We all want to see that.
We already did see
so
it.
I've been told. I did the Hulk, but I wasn't really comfortable with the way I looked when I was the Hulk. I'm trying to do a little bit better with Kratos and look more like a god.
Hey man, you're Shazam. Stunt at Oak City, that was beautiful.
You were the inspiration for that one.
If anybody didn't see it, there's videos.
So, my most challenging was probably 2015. I did Yoko Littner from Gurren Lagann, which if you haven't ever seen that anime, it's basically a spring bikini top and a pair of booty shorts. Other than that, inspiring fitness, like I said earlier, I do a lot of guy cosplays, and this was one of my first ones, which is Roy Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. He's a big, bulky guy, which would not have worked with my body type for cosplay.
The first costume that I recall, well, I guess it had to be, a lot of people know me as the Captain guy, even though he's Captain Cosplay. That's why it's not my AKA, I guess. But yeah, I do Captain America, and that's the one a lot of people know me. I guess it's been the one that's been the most recognizable. And Chris Evans is a pretty diesel guy. He's in pretty good shape, and I try and go for authenticity as much as I can. So when I first did that outfit, I actually had an Under Armour shirt, was a white Under Armour shirt was the underpiece of it, and I thought about doing it about 2 to 3 months before Halloween, and I got the shirt and put it on, and I felt like a marshmallow. And so I was like, you know, even if, you know, like in that time, in that situation, I was not into cosplay and going to the conventions. I was just wanting it as a Halloween costume. So I was very concerned with how I would be judged. So I started running every day to make that one, you know, and that's how it inspired me, is just kind of, at least because this was going to be exposed. So it was going to be nothing but a white Under Armour shirt with like these 2 little straps on it. So I was like, I'm definitely going to at least have that toned up a little bit. And then I went back and actually just put armor pieces in it so nobody could tell anyway. But that was the first one. So.
And I've kind of based my costume choices on where I'm at the time, or what I think I can reasonably achieve in, say, 4 months, 6 months, whatever. My first one that was kind of a celebration of my fitness was when I cosplayed Black Suit Spider-Man. I had just completed Les Mills Combat, which is an at-home workout, kind of like P90X, but mostly focused on mixed martial arts. And I wanted to reward myself. So I went for one that I wouldn't have imagined doing before I had gotten into fitness. And as I said before, Kamina is keeping me pushing forward. All right, Nick, we'll have you start on this one. What is your current regimen for fitness, and how does that compare to your regimen before or just after starting cosplay?
I actually don't have a fitness regimen. I was bitten by a cobra and struck by lightning at the same time. I'm just kidding. No, the current regimen that I'm doing, I'm kind of in that extremely heavy, like, final push for a cosplay that I'm going to be opening out in NC Comic Con. So I haven't worn it yet, but I've been in the gym currently. Quite a bit more lifting, so I would do probably about 45 minutes of lifting and 15 minutes of running per day for about 5 to 6 days a week. So partially that's because I'm in the final push of this getting ready for NC Comic Con, but also because I've got a lot more free time due to other circumstances. But yeah, so that's currently my regimen. Before cosplay, like, I would run from time to time just to kind of stay healthy. Every now and then I'd go lift weights or something like that, but the apartment gym that I wasn't going to pay for a gym because I wasn't really that concerned about it, and the heaviest weights that we had in my apartment were 50 pounds, so I was just kind of bench pressing those as many times as I could, and it got to where I could do those quite a few times, but it wasn't growing in size or mass at all. It was just kind of maintaining and staying medium, slim-ish, I guess, whatever you want to call what I look like.
My current fitness regimen, I'm a Beachbody coach. So what he was talking about with P90X is part of that. There's a lot of good at-home stuff you can do with that. I'm also very much into horseback riding, which is a ton of cardio. Before cosplay, as I've mentioned a couple times, it was a whole lot of working out every single day for a long, long time because you can't be overweight and dance and do competition.
Yeah, my current fitness regimen, I go about 3 to 4 times a week and split up major muscle groups, like, you know, one day's chest, one day's back, one day's legs, and I do the muscles that tie in between. I pretty much focus on strength training. I don't really do too much cardio because I hate it, but sometimes you gotta, because you can't deny the results of running even as much as it sucks. But now that I'm cosplaying, try to do a little bit more cardio than I did before, because there's a lot of tight-fitting costumes that I've started wearing that I still have to fit into.
Or just not wear any of them.
Shadam.
That's why you do MMX, man. Running's boring.
You gotta run with me.
There you go. Right now, I'm doing a strength training regimen. I took on a little challenge to develop a body weight only routine because, first of all, didn't want to get gym membership. Just pay for it, then you got to drive 20 minutes there and take you like 10 minutes to actually get on the floor. Then you gotta go back to the locker room and then 20 minutes back home. Wasted like an hour or two, as opposed to going out into my garage, doing the routine, have it all done out in an hour. And I've just been slowly but surely increasing the difficulty. Because my philosophy, keep moving forward, keep going for that next milestone. All right, Harley, I think this one will be good for you to start. How do you define or understand fitness? Do shapewear or padding factor into your decisions? How do you phrase your fitness goals? Weight, BMI, exercise tolerance?
So as a coach, it's a lot of exercise tolerance. There's a lot of different ways that people can do their exercise, and there's also, I've seen a whole lot of people who get fatigued and don't want to keep doing it because they can't tolerate what they're up to. I don't put a whole lot of effort in BMI because the scale is completely wonky.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've weighed myself probably 3 times in the past year. For me, it's much more about what you look like and what you feel like, and you know what you're able to do in the gym. Like if you're focused on strength training, like how much more weight are you lifting every time you go? If you're focused on cardio, how much faster can you run that mile or whatever? So being able, measuring your results by the capabilities that you're able to do rather, and you know how you feel and how you look like in the mirror is a much better, I guess, in my opinion, a better metric than just looking specifically at numbers. Now, that being said, I have heard of several people that love the scale because, especially if if you're in that class where it's going to take you a year to really start seeing results. If you've just been in a situation where it's just you can run for 10 miles a day for a year and you're going to just start seeing the difference in looking, then yeah, that number going down slowly, even if you don't see a difference in the mirror, is going to be a big deal. So it really, I guess, kind of depends on your perspective. For me specifically, though, it's all about how I feel and how much more I can do as I go to the gym. It's not, the number doesn't play in my decisions much at all at this point. In the future, it depends, but
I don't really pay attention to BMI at all either, because it always says I'm morbidly obese. I weigh about 270 pounds. I don't really think people thought out muscle size when they made the BMI. But I don't pay attention to the scale either. It's the mirror is the best tool. It takes about a month for other people to notice the changes, about 2 months for you to notice the change. But I don't even do stuff like measure my waist because my back muscles and my obliques are larger than other people's, and it makes it seem like I have a larger waist than I actually do, because I'm wider, you know, this way than I am thick-wise. So it's really hard to tell if you're just looking sideways, how, you know, the difference. But
It's a monster.
yeah,
Lovable.
it's my favorite energy drink. The exercise tolerance, sometimes I do get tired of weightlifting, and I'll just take about a week or two off, and I'll come back and I'll find out that I'm actually stronger than I was before, because the muscles have had a chance to, you know, recuperate and rebuild themselves pretty well.
Yeah, the BMI scale, at least the basic calculation, is kind of bumped because it's height and weight. But you can have two people who are the same height, but one happens to have a larger frame than the other. You know, they can be as equally fit and have the same good diet, but the person with the larger frame gets slapped with a high BMI. So that's...
I mean, case in point, I'm, I think, an inch shorter than Rusty. And, I mean, to be serious here, like, he's not out of shape, I'm not out of shape, but
exactly.
an inch difference, yeah.
All right, Rusty, I'm going to have you start this one. Figuring out where to begin is a challenge for many beginners. Wow, that's redundant. What are your suggestions for where to start?
I had no idea what I was doing when I started. I just went out and decided to buy a set of 40-pound dumbbells and just see what we can do with these. But I've discovered that there's a really good website out there called bodybuilding.com that has a list of every exercise you could think of, with videos on how to do the proper form. And if you're just starting, the best advice I can give you is don't lift very heavy weights for a while, because you might not injure yourself, but you could get so sore that you'll be unable to do like simple things like eating for like 2 weeks. First time my stepdad worked out with me, he tried to keep up with me, and he couldn't get the fork to his mouth to eat the next morning. And it's all about starting slowly and listening to your body. You don't want to go too much too fast. It's like not stretching before you run. You can pull a muscle because you're putting strain on your body that it's never had before.
Start with a coach. There's a lot of great programs out there like Beachbody that will be helpful for you. And if you have a coach that knows what they're doing, they can help you too. Beachbody's set up in a way that if you get any of their programs, they have a modified stepping system that you can start with something very, very simple if you're a beginner and work up to the advanced level. They also have a great program called Shakeology, which replaces a couple of your meals or one of your meals a day, and it helps you keep on track with your fitness.
I guess my best advice for getting started is get started. It sounds redundant, but it's a lot of people. It's like a cosplay. It's the same thing. Everybody talks about it. Oh, I want to do this. I want to set this thing up. I'm going to do this thing. 6 months later, oh man, I'm going to start this. I'm going to do this thing. This is going to be great, and nothing's changed. You just take the time to do it. Plan it out. Sit down. You know, even if it's not related to cosplay, and it's worth it to just take the time to sit down and say, hey, I'm going to do this. Or, I mean, even if it's just doing a couple, like 10 minutes of doing like some exercises in your house just to kind of get your body used to doing exercise on a regular basis, do it. I mean, whatever you've got to do to really get yourself in that mindset. Because, you know, for a costume, you know, you have this idea of where you want to be, but you're never going to get there if you don't really put the time and energy into making it. It's the same with fitness. You're never going to get where you want to be if you don't sit down and say, all right, let's go, and start doing it. And there's a lot of motivating factors, you know, from there keeping it going, but get started. That's the best advice I can give, is just go for it.
Go for it.
Another good piece of advice is when you're first starting, there are exercises for every muscle in the body, but you don't need to do every exercise in the book when you first get started. Just stick to, the basic compound movements like bench press, because you're going to work your chest, you're going to work your tricep, you're going to work the front of your shoulder, all doing that exercise. So until that gets comfortable, all of those muscles are going to be sore, and there's no reason to do another exercise for that muscle group until you start to get comfortable with the bench press. And the same goes for doing legs. You can just do leg press because you're going to use your entire leg to do the leg press. And until you get comfortable with that, you might not be able to walk. So I still fall down the stairs sometimes after legs. But just focus on doing the compound movements until you get comfortable with those and your muscles start to get accustomed to those movements. And then you can branch out into the smaller muscle exercises.
An important thing to grasp is incremental progress. Your stretch goal may seem way too lofty or way too far off. You have to savor the little victories in between. And sometimes that means stepping on the scale once a week or once every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's a progress picture once every month. Those are the things that keep you going when the destination seems way too far away. Progress photos are kind of my addiction.
It takes too many selfies.
As do many in our group.
All right, a common challenge people face is maintain a fitness habit or having the motivation to push through a plateau. What advice do you have for getting through those tough times? And I'm going to have Nick start.
So this one, I'll try and make this quick. I have an analogy that I thought of when he was mentioning these questions to us, like before the panel and everything, and there's a lot to it because there's so many factors involving fitness and staying fit and staying with it, but it's basically like a sailboat. If you think about you're in a sailboat, your objective is getting to shore, so that's your end goal is getting into shore. If your fitness and your working out and your healthy eating all is the wind. If that starts blowing on a sailboat, what's going to happen? Nothing at first, because you've got to take some time for your sailors to adjust the sail, to turn it, to catch the wind, to start the boat moving forward, which would be your metabolism helping you push the boat forward. So that's going to take some time getting started. If you push one huge gust of wind and they don't have time to get everything started moving forward, oh, well, you've done nothing. You've moved hardly anywhere. You haven't gotten going forward, and you're giving up on it, and there's no more wind. Everything's done, and you're not making much progress towards your goal. You're drowning out at sea. For a more positive, fun part of the metaphor. But just it's all consistency. Consistently put like positive, easy breeze is going to do a lot more than a huge gust of wind and getting that sailboat towards shore. So it's starting out and moving at a pace that you're comfortable with and staying at it. You just have to constantly focus on your end goal, and if it's the cosplay side of things, like this is what I want to look like, this is what I want to wear, this is how I want to wear this costume. So that's your end objective. You're still looking at shore, and you're constantly pushing that boat towards where you want it to go, and you're keeping on it. Even if you have to take a break a little bit from time to time, you're focused on the plan of continually moving forward and not giving up on that and keeping your eyes on where you're going. And that's my kind of biggest thing is the metaphor there of staying with it and just always thinking about where's my next step, even if I have to take some time off. Remind yourself about going to the gym, set phone reminders, just do whatever you have to do. Even if it's a poster of that in your room or something, just to make sure that you're always seeing what your goal is and what your objective is. So until you get there, you have a reason to keep pushing. It just helps you kind of stick with it.
Small increments. Whether that be you have a personal goal to run half a mile faster, or take 30 seconds off, or if you're weight oriented, set increments that you want to lose 5 or 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Another great reason For coaches, I have a personal coach, and she is very good at kicking my butt if I have a personal plateau and making me push through.
Okay, well, pushing through plateaus. I broke my arm when I was 18, and pretty much had to start retraining all over again.
Oh, that's broken lifting. I was like,
Oh,
how
no.
much weight was that?
Well, if you want to know, it was 500 pounds, counting me and my cousin falling on my arm.
Well, I bet you could finish that.
Maybe. But like my arm still gets tired so much faster than it used to because I got nerve damage too, and just gotta take it slow. But you know, you'll get burnout sometimes, like you do with everything, and there's nothing wrong with taking a break. And when you come back, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, if you're drawing something and you get tired, you come back, you'll be a little bit better. Kind of clear your head out a little bit, and you know, rethink the strategy that you have, and you know, take a look at what you're doing. But you know, take a week break, maybe 2 weeks or so. You'll come back, you'll be stronger. Your body will have had time to adjust to the changes that you're doing, and some of the stuff will be a little easier, but some of the stuff will still be kind of challenging. And you know, like Nick said, you know, it's like a boat. You just gotta keep paddling.
That's a really good analogy. You're welcome. And this harkens back to my previous answer. Some kind of little goals along the way, and it may seem like you've been stuck at the same weight or the same run time for weeks or months. You have to find those tiny little increases where you can. Sometimes with bench press, it can take you months to push it up 5 pounds or even 2 pounds. You just have to keep that small goal in sight so you can hit the big goal. All right, Rusty, I'm going to have you start this one. Do you prefer to think, when I achieve this level of fitness, I will cosplay that character? Or, I'm going to cosplay the character in 3 months in whatever shape my body will be in?
A little bit of both, actually. You know, if you're not in the perfect shape for the character, you know, do it anyway if it makes you happy. But when it came to Shazam, I just decided to go for it, even though I wasn't comfortable with, you know, my midsection. But because I've always wanted to do that character, it's always been my favorite hero, and it made me extremely happy to dress as that character and walk around and have people go, "You're Shazam." But it's
Sorry.
I don't want to yell at a microphone.
I'm just kidding.
And you
You did?
Thank you. You don't have to be in perfect shape to cosplay a character. I mean, they're, you know, fictional characters that probably have 0 body fat. And literally, if it makes you happy, just dress as the character. If you're in shape for that character, you know, good job. But it doesn't really matter what shape you're in to do a character.
I agree. If it's a character that you really love, cosplay them anyway. Now, for me personally, when I did Yoko Littner, I wanted to be in perfect shape because I wasn't going to go out in a bikini top and not look good, because a lot of people will not like that and would basically bully you in the community. I've done it one time since without being as perfect in shape, and I did get bullied a couple of good times for wearing it. But if it's a character that you love and you don't care, wear it anyway.
So a couple things on that. Just so we're all clear, in no way, shape, or form is cosplay bullying appropriate ever. So if you want to do a character right now and you're comfortable doing that, go for it. Absolutely, 100%. Whenever, wherever. The community as a whole frowns on that so much that it's something that we, as all of us up here, I know would take up for anybody we would see when something like that was happening. So that's definitely not okay. And if it's a personal choice, like I know for me it is, I even if I could go out wearing a spandex Spider-Man suit, if I wanted to, like or gentleman over here, I don't personally feel like I'm ready for that just yet. Which hopefully by NC Comic Con, because what I'm going to wear for that is pretty tight. But it's even if other people would think, there's another person who's going to be a panelist that a lot of people think is just in amazing shape, and they're not okay with that, and they still think, oh, I'm still kind of on the fence of that, and I'm kind of there too. Like some people would say that I'm in great shape, and I still don't feel like I'm at the level I want to be to do some of the characters that I want to do. If that's your choice, then okay. If it's their choice and you're doing it because you're scared of what other people would think, that's not cool. Just go for it. But as far as whether it's to achieve X level of fitness or to go, say I'm going to do it in a certain time frame, set a feasible goal, I would say, and go for it in that time frame. That's kind of what I do. Is I'll say this is the goal, this is the time frame that I've got to achieve this kind of shape. And I get as close as I can, and if I don't make it, I still wear the character because that's what I wanted to do. If I do make it, great, I look awesome.
Yeah, and if you ever find yourself running and if you find yourself being bullied, it does not take long at all to find some support. I mean, like the Animazement Facebook group, if you get bullied there and you go and post there, if you're just a little upset, you'll get so much positivity. So even though it hurts to be bullied in the moment, it's easy to find support. Now, as I mentioned, I keep going back to this. With Kamina, I'm not allowing myself to cosplay him until I'm at the level of fitness I want. And it's not a body shaming thing. I'll cosplay other characters even if I don't feel that I'm at the ideal fitness level. It's just, I adore Kamina, so I am holding myself to an incredibly high standard. But if someone else is cosplaying him and they're not super ripped like him, I'm not going to judge them. It's just my own personal standard. Well, actually, this kind of went along with what Nick was saying. What advice would you have for someone preparing for NC Comic Con in a few weeks or Katsicon in 4 months? Yeah, that's like 4 months, right? Sure, whatever. And, I'll have Nick start since it built off his previous answer.
Cool, yeah. So it's at this point, based on what I know of any real physical fitness, you won't really have much time by NC Comic Con to build good mass, and especially if you've not been lifting or working out, your metabolism being ready to pack on and add on muscle mass and stuff is going to take 3 weeks or so to get that kind of in already full gear in that direction. So if you're preparing for NC Comic Con and you want to change something physically about yourself to be in better shape by then, go run. And preferable, and I know it's a lot, just literally run every day and run intervals where you're doing really fast sprints and then slow down and then really fast sprints and then slow down, because that's what's going to burn the most fat off of your body. If that's what your objective is to kind of get more fit and in shape, just go do interval training as much as you can for 3 weeks. Now, if you've got 4 months and you want to pack on some extra weight, like muscle mass or anything like that, hit up the gym. The sailboat metaphor applies that getting your metabolism in the right direction, getting those sails put in the right direction, and keeping that wind consistently behind it. You've got to eat the right foods. For muscle mass, of course, it's eating 5 to 7 times a day. And for if you're wanting to burn weight, you still have to eat a good bit, but you want to eat a lot of healthy foods, not a lot of heavy proteins. I mean, you do want some of that, but you don't want tons of that. And you want to drink tons of water and run all the time. So And water's great for any of it, by the way. Just if you're trying, that's a huge stepping point or starting point to think on. Just drink, like take your body weight and half it, drink that many ounces of water per day. Great way to really look at that. But yeah, so for 4 months you got a lot more time to prepare. Go on some websites, look up some stuff. If you're going for NC Comic Con, don't even worry about going on the internet. Just go for a run.
Yeah, NC Comic Con, do a ton of cardio. Cardio is your best way to either slim down or get healthier by the 4-week mark for NC Comic Con. If you have more time, go look up what actors do. Actors will prepare for roles, and if they want to be bulkier, if they want to be slimmer, a lot of people will interview them about their personal things that they do. And there's a ton of great advice out there.
If you're getting ready for NC Comic Con, it's only a few weeks away. The only thing you're going to notice a big difference is if you really watch what you're eating and do a lot of cardio. Like, knock out the sugars, try not to eat a whole lot of carbs like breads and whatnot. And really just focus on, eating a lot of fruits, vegetables, and some proteins. But, Katsui, how you say that? I don't know. Katsukan, okay. I've been there.
It's cool.
Is it 4 months? You still watch your diet, but you don't have to be as strict as if you only have a few weeks versus 4 months. But it'll be a lot easier for you to notice changes from the gym and doing cardio if you have 4 months out versus just a few weeks. But either way, really watch your diet, because that's going to be the biggest thing about getting the changes.
Yeah, I probably should have put down something like Ichiban Con, because that's 2 months. That's a little better preparation time for short term. Now, something for beginners that I've noticed just creates an astounding difference in the short term. Cut out soda if you haven't already.
And dessert.
I've seen so many people who cut out sugar soda, and they're just amazed by the weight they can drop off pretty quickly.
Can I add a caveat in there? If you're cutting out sodas, also don't just sub sweet tea or lemonade. Just the sugar is what you're cutting out, not the soda. So just as a disclaimer, I did that one time. I was like, I'm gonna stop drinking soda, period, and then I was drinking sweet tea every day, and it literally was the exact same. Nothing changed. But
So pop's okay.
We're south of the Mason-Dixon line.
I'm from Montana, so it's all back and forth anyway. And to add on to what he said, sometimes people like to mix in juices. Check the sugar content on the juice you start. Some brands of apple juice have about as much sugar as your typical Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
That too. Mm-hmm. All right, now we'll open it up to questions from the audience. Yes?
So you've talked about getting ready for con and when you go and eating better and working out. What do you do when you're at con? Because I find when I go down to Dragon Con, trying to eat healthy is really challenging. Or do you just kind of 4 days, that's it, and then get back to the schedule?
All right, what I'd like to do personally, I put, when I'm choosing which costume I'm going to wear on which day, I put the ones that I feel I need to have the best form for up front, because at some point I know I'm going to fall off the wagon for a multi-day con.
A nice trick I've learned from this lady right here is take a bag of snacks with you. And there'll be some cons where I'm just eating cheese sticks all day, because it's not necessarily bad, and it's a nice little protein. But at a con, you're going to be tempted to eat everything, especially if you've been watching your diet, getting ready for these costumes, and you're only eating cheese sticks. You're going to get cravings. like he said, do the costumes that are the most tight-fitting first, because by the end of the con, I mean, you could be bloated from just not having enough water in your system during the con, so.
Another thing I learned from that one over there is to food pack. She brings a whole lot of her own food. She's even had crock pots at cons, but she's made her own food and brought it with her, which is a really healthy option. Also, if you do something like Shakeology, which is some meal replacer, I take that in the mornings and use that as my meal replacer in the morning before I go out to the con, and it keeps me through lunch when I'm only eating dinner.
So my advice, like they were saying, pack your food if you can. If it's a multi-day con, the great thing about almost all of these, there's very, very few of them that are not in a pretty decent sized town. So there's usually lots of different options around. And there's usually a Jimmy John's within pretty close distance. And I only say that Jimmy John's is not the best for you food ever, but they make unwiches because their bread's not that good anyway. And that was supposed to be funny. You guys can but you can get a lettuce wrap sandwich, and it's literally no bread, and you get the same sandwich, and it's cold cuts and cheese and meat and tomatoes and vegetables, and it's wrapped in a lettuce wrap. And you can order that to your hotel room or wherever, and try and get it, I guess, without mayo or something. But you can generally, you can find pretty decently healthy options. Domino's does salads now. Who thunk it, But because they're usually in pretty decent sized places, you can find, if you're looking, you can find healthier options. You're not saying you're still not going to have those cravings for the McDonald's that's right across the street here. I ate it earlier today. I feel really bad about that. But I had a grilled chicken sandwich, so there's worse things I could have eaten. But yeah, so just look for the healthier options, even if they're not prevalent. Like, search them out. They're there. They're just going to be harder to find than like the deep fried Oreo, whatever things you get at State Fair.
Just be careful when you're getting fast food salads, because some of them are as bad as
Yes. Pay attention to
the calories and your nutrition.
Surprisingly enough, the Chick-fil-A Southwest salad, like the fat content and their like dressing packet is more than a Big Mac sandwich.
Yes.
Just the dressing packet has like
Yep.
twice the fat as a Big Mac. It's crazy.
Yeah, they were talking about it like a few years ago. They came out in the news. I remember that.
Yeah. And Wendy's actually adds sugar to their salads, all of them.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
To preserve them longer,
Yep.
to add sugar, and also watch your salt, because especially when you're in Atlanta in September and you eat too much salt, you're gonna bloat.
Yep. I highly recommend. Yep. I highly recommend investing in Cuisinart makes a thing called a griddler. It comes with changeable plates, and we bring that to all of our cons. You can griddle on it. You can cook eggs, all sorts of stuff on it, and it's
Make friends if you
very
like
compact.
Like I do. Make friends with people like her.
Yep, and it's very compact and works in every hotel room.
Can bring stuff,
So,
but-
yeah.
I have learned a few tricks for kind of curbing cravings. Like, the cheapest place to get a protein powder is to just go to Walmart or something. You can get a small amount for $20, and like you can mix that in with pudding and stir it up, or like you can take a handful of oatmeal and mix it in with the protein shake. And it'll actually keep you full for a pretty good while.
Dang, I hadn't heard that tip. I'm going to implement that. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Yes.
So when your body shape changes a lot, either in one direction or the other, what do you do with the costumes that don't fit you anymore?
Nick, I'm going to have you take this one because you mentioned that you've been all over the place.
Okay, so I still have most of mine. The main reason why is because I can still fit a medium shirt, which is what I wore for the Irwin Attack on Titan one. That I was a lot smaller when I wore it. I wore it not too long ago too, and it was a lot more tight-fitting than it probably should have been. And that was great because it was my chest and shoulders and not other places. But I would recommend, keeping them because you never really know, I guess, and you don't want to not have a costume if if you're anything like any of us, you don't want to not be able to go to a con if somebody's like, hey man, come on down. But at the same time, if you can donate them or give them to somebody who really needs them, or worst comes to worst, there's plenty of places that'll buy costumes. Like off of there's a what's the cosplay Facebook page where you can post your costumes. Now, granted,
a lot of them.
I wouldn't ever buy like a multiple 25 times worn kind of costume from there, so be wary of that, and I probably wouldn't post that, but just hang on to them. I mean, if you've got space, if you don't, you'll have to kind of throw them out, I guess, but I would say try and hang on to them. You never know what shape or size you're going to be, and if nothing else, there's plenty of people that you know, and if you don't, talk to me, because I know plenty of people that can adjust and mold and fit a costume from all different shapes and sizes. They could probably make Rusty Shazam fit me one time, man. So, yeah, hang on to them.
Anyone else have something they want to add?
I'm probably not the best person to answer this because I still wear shirts I had that I bought when I was 15.
Same.
But I know people that will take in their costumes when they start to lose weight, so they fit more snug. And, you can always add that back later too to readjust it back out. And never get rid of your costume.
Yeah, I haven't really ran into that much yet. I've hovered around the same general body type since I started, so I'll let you know when I get there. Anyone else? Probably have time for about one or two more questions. All right. Well, before we close it off, my friend Kunal has an announcement he'd like to come up to make.
Sure. I guess I'll just stay from here. Yeah, sure. So, I don't know if some of y'all have heard of the book, what's it called? Nerd Fitness. Level Up Your Life. Level Up Your Life, right, by Steve Camp. There's a bunch of forums as part of that website. It's basically about fitness is a piece of it, but it's about just working on things in your life that you want to. Fitness is certainly a core part of that. A few of us off of those forums are getting together, actually right after this, to go to the park and do some just active, not necessarily boot camp stuff, but just some basic movement stuff, and then just going to hang out after that. Should be done in time for closing ceremonies here. But anybody who's interested, I think this is just the first time we're trying to do this. Probably in the future we'll try to time it a little bit better so it doesn't overlap with other activities from cons that are going on. But if anybody's interested, I'll stick around for a couple minutes afterwards. Anybody wants to go, I can carpool with you, but we'll certainly post on Facebook and other places about when we're doing other meetups like this. So, sweet.
Awesome.
All right, well, thank you everyone for coming out. I want to thank my panelists for sitting in, giving their experiences, advice, and opinions. I'd also like to thank Jenny for recording this, also for Nick doing the audio recording. And yeah, we'll be posting this online, and if you have any more questions, you can contact me at my page, which is called Drill Soul Nerd Motivation. You can contact Rusty at Captain Cosplay. You can contact Harley at Quidditch Dragon Cosplay, and you can contact Nick at Klaus Edwards. Wait, I know your full first name. I should have remembered that.
All good.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and good luck on your fitness goals.
Don't skip leg day.
Yes, don't skip leg day.